Is it on? Are you on? Hi, I'm Rix. I'll be showing you how to maintain your computer and prolong its life, from cleaning the dust on the case to cleaning and freeing space on a hard drive. And also tweaking BIOS and Windows to speed up your startup time and make Windows faster. I will also be upgrading my graphics card. Let's get to it. We have now come to the end of the cleaning part. Shortly I'll be showing you my graphics card upgrade. The power supply fan was noisy, so I opened the power supply up, cut the fan connection to the PSU and connected it to the fan controller to make it quieter. Asus, however you pronounce it, GTX 560 Ti directs you to the open. Okay, so I'm gonna unbox this. Here's the GTX 560 Ti overclocked. They've actually used the same box and the same graphics from about 3 years ago when I got my GTX 260. Yep. Driver's manual, speedy setup. Any color. They should have included a Asus mouse mat inside here. I should call this a reopening because I shamelessly opened it earlier on. 2 Molex, 2 PCI Express power cables, mini HDMI to HDMI, and DVI to VGA port adapter. And the card itself, dual fan, looks pretty nice. Black board. In case you're wondering about my old graphics card, it's an Asus GTX 260 with 216 stream processors. First you want to unscrew the 2 screws in the back. And remove the 2 power cables. Push this little lever thing. Reconnect the 2 power cables. Done. I should show you there's a little problem here. Well, not problem, but my sound card is blocking the airflow for the fan. Shouldn't be too bad. Your computer components become hot when playing games and running intensive tasks, especially the graphics card and the processor. So in order to keep them cool, you must make sure there is good airflow inside your case. I would recommend having at least 2 fans, one for pulling cold air in and one for exhausting hot air out. In my case, I have 2 intake fans. Well, 3. If you've seen an Antec 900 case before, you may have noticed I've placed the front fans a bit back towards the middle of the case. I felt that the airflow is a bit stronger this way. Because I added a fan to the side case and the aftermarket cooler was too tall, I couldn't close the side window. So the only way I could keep the side fan was by facing the heatsink upwards and placing the fan on the top side, pulling air up. For even better airflow, you should try to keep the cables inside the case tidied. Side fans are usually optional, but once you've placed it in,
It really does a good job at providing cold air to the processor, motherboard, and the graphics card. Let me demonstrate the fans at full speed. CPU fan, side fan, top fan, front top, front bottom. It's getting noisy now. Power supply fan, and the rear fan. It's very noisy now. You wouldn't want to run the fans at full speed anyways. Monitoring processor and graphics card temperatures. I use a program called CoreTemp to monitor my processor temperatures. Here you can see the CPU model, CPU socket, current temperatures, as well as minimum and maximum temperatures. And to monitor my graphics card temperatures, I use MSI's Afterburner, which keeps track of temperatures on a neat graph. Pretty cool. I will now use Prime 95 to stress the CPU for a couple of minutes, just to show you guys what kind of temperatures I get. But bear in mind that all the fans are on the lowest setting, so the temperatures will be quite high. Room temperature at 22.2 degrees Celsius, as you can see. You may have noticed that the processor is clocked at 2.8 GHz instead of the stock 2.67 GHz because turbo mode is on. And all that does is it allows the multiplier to go up from 20 times to 21 times, increasing the CPU clock by 133 MHz. I know some of you must think I'm crazy for allowing it to reach these temperatures, but I assure you that this doesn't happen very often. I hardly stress a processor like this most of the time, only if I'm rendering or encoding that it will get to these temperatures, and that's when I will increase the fan speeds according to the heat. I'll now stress the graphics card using Furmark. In case you're wondering why my graphics card is at stock speeds, it's because I've underclocked it using MSI Afterburner. I made 3 different profiles. Number 1, for the Asus overclock speeds. Number 2, for the stock GTX 560 Ti speeds. And 3, underclocked to my old GTX 260 speeds. This way it produces less heat, runs at a cooler temperature, saves energy and provides, and it prolongs its life. I'm gonna time the computer to see how long it takes for it to boot up into Windows. About 59 seconds, let's say. I'm going to use a program called CCleaner. It can clean temporary files, unused registry keys, uninstalling programs, managing startup programs and more. Here it shows which temporary files can be cleared, like Internet Explorer files, Windows system dumps, Firefox files, Chrome files, etc. Now I'm going to use a program called Defraggler, which is also made by the same company as CCleaner. It's basically a program that defragments your hard drive. File list showing the fragmented files, how much they're fragmented, the size of the files, file name and path of each one. You can also defragment files individually by ticking on them. So let's see how much cleaning the temporary files and defragmenting your hard drive speeds up the startup time. "54 seconds, just a 5-second difference. I'll now show you a few more tweaks you can do to increase the startup time even more. But instead of using my computer, I will use a laptop that has never been tweaked or cleared before. Settings, boot time defrag, run once. This is offline defragmentation that will defragment files before Windows boots up. These files are usually locked when Windows is running, and they cannot be moved on the drive because they are being used, like the page file, the antivirus program, etc. During this process you won't be able to do anything for a short while, around 2 to 5 minutes. If you look at your hard drive activity LED, you'll notice that it's being used, and you will be notified on screen when the defragmentation is complete. Now for some BIOS tweaks. To access BIOS on this laptop, you press F2 as it says on the screen, and then go into boot and boot device priority. By default it's been set to boot from the CD drive before booting into Windows from the hard drive, so we will set it to boot from the hard drive first, and then save and exit, F10. Yes. You may have noticed the screen when I timed the laptop for the first time. BIOS was looking for a bootable CD. Now this message shouldn't appear anymore, as it should boot straight into Windows. This is my PC BIOS. I just wanted to show you guys my onboard device configuration, as the laptop doesn't have it. I've got a separate sound card, so I disabled the onboard audio. My hard drive and DVD drive use a SATA connection, so I don't need a Marvel storage controller. I use wireless LAN, so I've disabled the LAN, as well as FireWire because I don't use that connection. I changed the hard drive to be the first boot drive and disabled the CD-ROM. If your BIOS has a quick boot feature, make sure it's enabled. System restore tip. You can change how much space system restore uses up, and even turn it off completely if you really want to. Right click computer, properties, advanced system settings, and then system protection. Click the drive which protection is on for and go into configure. You can tick here if you want to completely turn it off. Slider to allow how much space you want. You can also delete system restore files that are currently stored. Disabling hibernation. Most people don't use hibernation, so disabling it could save you some hard drive space. It depends on how much RAM you have. So let's say you have 4 GB of RAM, it will use 4 GB of your hard drive. Hibernation basically stores everything that is currently running, like your open programs, folders, music, and saves it on your hard drive until your computer is turned on again, where it will resume to the exact state you left it in. So here's how to turn it off. Click start and type in CMD for command prompt. Right click it and run as administrator. Now type in power CFG space dash H for hibernation and space off, and press enter. This will disable hibernation. And if you'd like to turn it back on, type in power CFG space dash H space and on. Enter. System configuration. To get to it, click start and type in msconfig. There should be just one program, like the picture on the left. You should get a window that looks like the picture in the middle. Click on the startup tab. Now you can disable programs that you don't want starting up every time you boot your computer. Make sure not to disable programs you don't know about. It may mess up your computer, so make sure you use the internet to research if you're unsure. We're almost at the end of the video, so let's see how fast the startup time is now. About 20 seconds of the startup time. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, just comment below and I will get back to you when I can. And subscribe.